Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Angelica Corral with What in the World Events. And today we have a wonderful speaker, Chaitanya Bailey. We're going to be talking about thought leadership using generative AI. Chaitanya, would you like to speak a little bit about you and what you do?
Sure, Angelica. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, whoever is listening from whatever part of the world you are in. Um, my name is Chaitanya. I'm an electronics and communications engineer by qualification, but I specialize in augmented reality, mixed reality, and generative AI. And
Yes.
I produce industry-related solutions to companies using these technologies.
Awesome. So he has a lot of knowledge about AI. So we know that if we don't want to be left behind, we have to move forward with it. And so that's why it's such a privilege to have Chaitanya here. So I'm going to start with the first question and that is, how can AI be used to identify and analyze trends or emerging issues to establish thought leadership on?
Okay. Um, Let me give you an example. Maybe a year back or 2 years back, when somebody gave me a project, Angelica, I had to hire an agency to give me what is happening in the market, some kind of market research, some kind of trend analysis.
Hmm.
And when I went to these agencies, they would use their own bias. They would give me their perspective.
Hmm.
And sometimes, after paying them a premium, the report they would give you was useless because it has not captured anything that you want. And some of them will be mission critical to your client.
Hmm.
Now, what what generative AI does is give me very fine analysis of what is happening in a certain industry. Now, these algorithms help me find social media, news articles, scientific papers, industry reports,
Yes.
and I can map these to what is happening in social media. Say, for instance, say my client is say something into reflective roof paints. Now, you don't
Hmm.
find too much information about reflective roof paints if you go by Google. But when I go through AI, it picks out hidden reports and hidden information that is not easily available. And it
Yes.
comes in a jiffy. Now, when I go back to match it with some of the companies that do reflective paints, I can map what I find versus what I need. And then from there, based on what my market looks like or what my client's condition is, and in which stage of business they are in, I'm able to give them pretty actionable, very beautiful actionable items that make sense to them. So they are convinced more, and they are confident enough to go and start doing things that they want to do.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, we got Aaron G in the room. Whoop, whoop, he says, Angelica Corral. Now, Aaron G is another person that I was telling you about that he's on it
Yes.
when it comes to AI. And I love what he did in Annie's room the other day. You go, Aaron, with what you're doing. You got me inspired.
So, Aaron, we hopefully will have something similar next time. We also, Angelica wants a room with music.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
for the
got.
inspiration.
Yes, thanks for inspiring us because music it stirs emotion. So I loved it. I love what you did. So appreciate that. And thank you for your support here. So
Yeah.
so what AI tools and techniques can identify white space opportunities for thought leadership content? And you might want to talk about what white space opportunities are.
Yes. So, in the previous question, I kind of started it. Now, what is a white space? Say,
Mhm,
there's something very new in the market.
mhm,
So, people have not created content about it, and you cannot find anything about it. Now, how do you speak about it? How do you get anything about it? How do you find out who your competitor is? Right?
mhm, mhm,
So, when you draw a blank on anything that you want, we call it a white space. Now, what used to happen in previous times, maybe 2 years back, was Google was God. So the moment you said, okay, I want something about a particular component about scent that is extracted from something, it'll give you rubbish. And then
Mhm.
you will be scrolling endlessly hoping to find what you need.
Mhm.
And you will draw a blank. You do not know what you're looking for, and then the mind fogs, and then you kind of lose time. Now, what happens with AI is now it starts with trend analysis.
Mhm.
There's something called a topic modeling. So the moment you do something, when you add something on white space, you
Mhm.
have tools like Spark NLP, and Stanford has a tool. It's called Stanford Topic Modeling Toolbox. Now, what
Okay.
they do is they analyze huge data sets that are available and then give you trends and topics that can lead you to your conversation, to lead you to your requirement. The other thing, there's a term called social listening. Now, millions and millions of people are putting in content online, right? But how do
Mhm.
we know who is doing what and where can we find our specific niche or that specific piece of content that we need?
Mhm.
So there are platforms like Brandwatch. There is something called Sprout Social and to an extent BuzzSumo. So what they do is they monitor online conversations, millions and millions of posts, millions and millions of videos, and then identify topics.
Okay.
And not just topics, they also come back with pain points. And what it also does is the intelligence is brilliant. Now, it speaks about the conversations, it analyzes the topics and the pain point, and also comes back to with recommendations to say that, you know, there are 5 pain points for this particular problem. Audience
Mhm.
get 3 and 4, but the fifth one is unmet. There's no company which is giving that kind of a solution. So you know where to target them first.
Nice.
Right, so now that is now where that it doesn't stop, then it also goes and does a sentiment analysis.
Mhm.
So you know what the audience sentiment is towards a content. Now if a particular thing happened, some Hollywood star did something and then it is trending. Now is it trending to suit your requirement, or is it going to bomb you?
Mhm.
It is then based on that sentiment, it will also tell you what kind of persona are looking for it.
Mhm.
Now, I might write a lot of content, but is my audience in sync with what I'm writing? And after the persona is done, it gives you a gap of what is missing from the content, right? So it's unbelievable. So
That's
so much of
beautiful.
information that we quickly transition from a place where there was no content and then an abundance, an avalanche of content. So you need to actually pick your small thread from an avalanche and then go online to do what you need to do. So that's the power of what AI is doing.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing that. That's very useful. Um,
Thank you.
so can generative AI be used to draft thought leadership articles or other content outlines?
Yes, yes. Um, maybe again, as I said, when I worked for many years, I worked with a lot of clients, British American Tobacco. Um, Pepsi was my big client.
Mhm.
Celgene Life Sciences was my big client.
Mhm.
And in those days, I knew that the content that I'm putting out was not resonating with my audience.
Mhm.
Um, I am not addressing their pain points. Now, the kind of language I want to use, the kind of sentiment I would want to put in, was very difficult to manage.
Mhm.
Now, what happens is when you are stuck with a particular idea of a particular domain,
Mhm.
most are likely, as a marketing person or a branding person, your thoughts are revolving around the same area. There's no way you escape that muddle and get out somewhere and then do something. Now, what generative AI does is help you go to that 40,000 feet to see a high level picture of where you are stuck.
Nice.
Previously, you were a rat in a maze, but here it's different. The second point, what generative AI does is allow you to connect two seemingly non-connected domains and bring an outcome. Say, for
Mm,
instance, last week I was working on one uh, pitch deck for a company that is going into highly specific precision micronutrition.
mhm,
So when I go to a micronutrition, when somebody is paying a lot of dollars to get that micronutrition, I should be able to evoke a few responses from these people because they are the high-end clients. They
mhm,
go into big spas, they spend a lot of money taking care of their body, their personality and image. And
mhm,
to get them to spend and open their pocket, I need to make that emotional connect.
mhm,
Now, if I go say if the some of these domains are highly abused, nutrition, healthcare, everybody has written everything. Does the product do anything? I don't know, because every Hollywood star worth his name launched a health brand and failed. Now in that they have taken the best copywriters and they have used it. Now the moment you have used a particular concept or a particular language and you use it the next time, the impact has gone down by 70 to 80%. You
mhm.
don't get that impact from your audience. Now, what did I do? I had to go back to autobiography of Benjamin Franklin and read about the struggles that Benjamin Franklin had with his brothers, with his tribe. Bring some of those to a nutritional concept. Now, then the copy made a lot of sense. So these people were struggling to get audience from some celebrated surgeons in the West Coast,
Mhm.
and three of them happened, right?
Wow.
So to get those emotions, you can go to seemingly non-connected places, understand their struggles, try to bring into this domain and see how it responds. And there's no perfect formula to get some customer of you to buy because as much as I want my branding to be science, because science can be repetitive,
Mm,
brands and brand stories are not.
mhm,
Emotions are not. Once I have exploited a certain emotion to the maximum, the next day I do it, it falls flat. Nobody
mm,
cares.
mhm.
So you need to keep it fresh. And to keep it fresh, you need new perspectives. And you don't get so many perspectives in a day. So you need to do research. And that research becomes extremely easy with generative AI.
I love it because research takes so much time.
Yeah, it takes so much time. And the beauty is, say, suppose like I said, I'm in nutrition. So I go to a celebrated nutritionist or some brand which has done, say,
Mhm.
10 million views on YouTube. So
Yes.
take that video, see why it made sense. Because there are so many tools, like I said, Stanford NLP and all those. Try to run it through this and then see how the sentiment is working. Now, in that sentiment, right now, if there is a big bowl happening, now how is an athlete from big bowl getting and staying at top fitness level using nutrition, using precision science? Now, if
Mhm.
I combine both these, I'm combining my research and combining a public sentiment and a star's brand to create a new story that connects for that week, maybe.
That means that it's not going to be boring and something that people have heard before because you're using two different things and melding them together, right?
Right.
Awesome. Well, we have Jim Thorpe. He made a comment, so we'll check on his comment. He says, yes, it sure can be used to generate content like crazy. So it looks like he's using the AI to generate content, and which is very useful. So
Yeah.
thank you for your comment, Jim Thorpe. So
Thank you, Jim. So while we generate content out of AI, so it's not for Jim, but it's for the broader audience. Be very careful with what AI spits out. Sometimes some of it is hallucinating content.
Mm.
It does not exist. What the perspectives that it throws out can be hallucinating, may not exist. If you don't again check with what it does and put it in public forums, you are going to hit your reputation badly.
Mm.
The other thing, Angelica, is that now if you put a piece of content in front of me, written content, in a bat of an eyelid, I can tell you if it is generated from ChatGPT or Claude or even Bard or Gemini. I know what kind of content comes out of
You
it.
speak the lingo already.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I don't know if you have noticed this. The digital immigrants who spend too much time with chat GPTs and all are actually speaking that language
Mm.
because they are generating it so much that I had to tell a couple of my relatives stop sending them to chat GPT first. In the chat GPT language, there's no emotion in it.
It's like a friend of mine who said he realized that somebody on the DM was sending him like a chat GPT notice, and then he put in his comment, "I don't like canned responses." that's that's what it sounds like, right? A canned response. So
So now I'm actually creating a formula for this. Now, if your comment starts with absolutely, send per 100% agree, and whatever follows that is ChatGPT response.
that is funny. You speak the chat GPT language, so we need to be
Yeah.
aware that we need to
Now,
humanize it and make it us, right?
right. So now imagine this, Angelica. Now I have a client. Okay, he pays me a premium to get his services done.
Hmm.
And if I start writing the ChatGPT language without adding my perspective, without getting, see, businesses are not about you. Business is about the others. Who's the other? Your customer.
Yes.
So the moment if you don't write anything which is resonating with the customer, which which is something which is words written without putting yourself in your customer's shoes, your
Hmm.
customer's problems,
Hmm.
customers' frustrations, it's not going to
Yes.
convert. Now, why would a client pay you so much for creating something out of AI, right? So
Hmm.
that's where we have to be careful. It gives you a lot of output, like Jim is saying, the quality of props,
Hmm.
right? The quality of prompts that you make makes a lot of difference. So you need to write the right prompts, use the right questions. So it's a Socratic method. You ask questions, it gives you answers. So need to know what questions you need to ask. Simple. And then you get the right content. And then again, my personal statistic is that whatever comes out of generative AI is 6 out of 10, 6 on 10. The other 40% is what I add
Okay.
to humanize it. So.
Okay, that makes sense. So interesting conversation. So how can AI track industry discussions on social media so that you can find area leaders that have yet to comment on things?
Right. No, as I said, these tools like BuzzSumo, Stanford NLP, they give you multiple dimensions of a certain conversations.
Hmm.
Now,
It's
if
Bosomo?
you
It's,
BuzzSumo, it's a paid tool. What it does is it goes into all social media,
hmm.
listens to languages, listens to conversations based on topics, niches, and a lot of other things,
Okay.
and gives you very specific output of, say, for instance, you're a podcaster. Now, what is the podcasting industry looking like? How many people add themselves to podcasting? What
Hmm.
is in trend? What tools are being used? Like you identified, Aaron is providing AI generated music to keep people interested. So,
Hmm.
what are the other tricks that people play to get the attention? And how are they keeping their audience connected? All this information comes. And then you can take this information, take it to generative AI and ask, these are the trends that are happening in my niche.
Hmm.
What can I do to make a difference? And then it will give you probably 50 options, and of which you only have to pick one.
That's awesome. Because sometimes we don't know, right? We think that we're giving the information, but it's all in the way that we give the information as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So as I said, I think the last time also I said a few, maybe a year back, I would say I know enough of whatever it is, of AR, augmented reality, mixed reality, or whatever.
Hmm.
Now, today I say I am intelligent enough to understand what you're asking. I will not claim to know everything because the explosion is happening. It's faster than a big bang that happened some billion years ago. So very hard to catch up with the Momo progress. So if you tell me that this is a particular trend, I will quickly go in, understand what is happening, and come back to you with specific actionable items.
It's funny because I have my other job, which is film and photography at work and social media. And I feel like I need to study AI so that I could be on top of giving better quality content and things of that sort. So, but at the same time, I need to do editing and all the other stuff that, but AI is really good at helping me edit my things faster. So, this is something that I really need because I have, right now, we're working on a project which you said earlier, when you want to give information that's different, you don't want to have the same thing posted, right? And right now we have 110 years of service in our organization of helping people in the community, right? So they want
Mhm.
us to do 110 interviews, which I love that because I think 110 interviews is going to be something different, something that's not boring, and their stories. And I was just talking Saturday to somebody that I hadn't seen in a while, and I go, "Hey, how's Stephanie doing?" And she went to school with my son when he was a preschooler, right? And now she's in college, and they go, "Oh, she's studying to be a scientist now." And I'm like, "Oh, she'd be perfect for the 110 stories, right?" So
Nice.
anyways, I'm really excited about this, but you just made it. You just confirmed that this is a really good idea for us to do to make it interesting, right? But I think we need to spike it up a little bit with some AI to give it some oomph. You know,
Yes,
I think
yes.
Aaron
So
G knows what I'm talking about, right, Aaron? If he's still here. Oh, Jim Thorpe had a few things here. He says human conversation with the AI will improve the results much.
yes, that's
What
true.
amazing what the AI can produce in many forms as a designer. Its results are mind-boggling and very useful. Always edit. That's a lot of
Yeah,
interviews. Yeah, it is a lot of interviews. I have an intern that's going to help me, so it'll be interesting to meet her and see how we could work together. I just love collaborating. But
yeah. So there's one real solid problem with AI, like any of these generative AIs.
mhm,
What happens is it dumps down on a certain window. Say, for instance, you start with podcasting and you
mhm,
ask a particular question and
mhm,
you drill down to say 16, 17 questions. By then, it would say, we have reached capacity. You try
mhm,
later or take a paid version.
mhm,
Then you go to a paid version and do the same, it will give you the same result. Fundamentally, what happens is right now, they dumb down as the question reads 20 as a standard ballpark,
mhm.
the responses die. It is
Uh,
not able to think beyond that. Now, and you will also start realizing that after question 8 and 9, the answers are worse than what Google gives you. So we have to really, really be smart with what question we are asking the first time.
yeah.
Include all parameters and then drill down a little more before your seventh or eighth, drilling down prompt comes in. And after that, most of it is gibberish and useless.
Yes. Yeah. I guess you're right. We got to look and make sure that the questions are interesting because some of
Interesting,
them could
right?
be kind of boring too, right?
So what I do there is that if I get to a place, you're not working at your best all the time. You're not able to see the right picture most of the time.
Mhm,
So what I do is, say, suppose I have gone in a particular window, I have gone 7 or 8 prompts down, and I'm not happy with what is coming back. I compile all this, push out what is not required, retain what is required, what is there, add my perspective and make it a fresh prompt again.
Okay.
And then what comes out is really way above what we have what I've been struggling through.
Hmm.
And some of these, Angelica, the best part of working with generative AI is you identify your own mistakes and very quickly.
Hmm.
So I might be talking about a painting industry from a certain perspective, and I do not even realize that there is a parallel industry in the within the painting industry which is challenging this particular dimension you are working on.
Hmm.
Now, how do you help your client? Two ways. To say there is a particular niche in your painting industry which is biting your margins or digging your grave.
Hmm.
The second one is I think you should not compete with them, but you should play along with them. So either ways, you get your client to be profitable. Otherwise, previously we had no such opportunity because somebody deep in the painting industry who knows both the domains don't exist. And even if they exist, they are not available to you for a conversation at the time you need information. Right.
Right.
So, in a way, I also see generative AI as my antenna to see what is happening around where I'm working and the clients that I'm servicing.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
It helps us think about things that we don't think about, right? It's our assistant that helps us see things from another perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in a way, what also happens with so thought leadership fundamentally is a certain area that we recommend to clients so that they build a certain reputation in the market for bringing something new that didn't exist.
Okay.
It's a struggle. It You are not used to it as a client. As an industry owner, I'm not used to thought leadership. I'm used to managing my company well.
Hmm.
I'm used to managing my company profitably.
Hmm.
So to be a thought leader, I have to take myself to the next level. I have to graduate to the next level. There's a certain mindset shift.
Hmm.
And in that we believe, like people say, when you make a certain action, the consequences are also there.
Hmm.
You also try to do a lot more. So, very one classic example, one of my clients is a manufacturer of elevators. He started some 40 years back. Now he's a big name in the industry. He produces amazing elevators and all kinds of features come into his elevators. He's like a market leader, but he's that's where he stopped. He said, "Okay, I'm doing well. I'll continue to do this."
Hmm.
Now I kind of started putting in a lot of new elements into elevators as a consultant.
Okay.
Initially, it was like, "Who the hell are you to tell me this is what I should do? I know the industry for 40 years." I said, "You know the industry, but you also are in a position where you bring changes to the industry." So this he could not say no to, and we started there.
Hmm.
Um, and and fortunately for me, this is a very rigid man, but he accepts logic. He will appreciate a good suggestion. And what we realized during the course of that action was that this man started seeing customers as clients. He never saw customer. He doesn't see customers now. He sees clients.
Hmm.
Now, what is the real difference? A
Hmm.
customer fundamentally is a commodity.
Hmm.
So a commodity, what happens to a commodity? Commodity gets traded with price.
Hmm.
Now, previously, his customers would come to him just because he is an old company. He's been there for like quite some time.
Hmm.
But he would see that as one transaction. He would not see that this fellow can be a long-term client. Now, once the thought leadership came, what I surprisingly realized was that he started speaking that I have a product evolution curve. This is not the final elevator that I'm getting. In the
Hmm.
next 6 months, I have these elevators scheduled.
Mm.
Now, a certain builder or an apartment, somebody who makes those giant apartment comes here, sees
Mhm.
this, and he's asking, "Can you give me the design of your next release?"
Mhm.
Right? So that evolution started happening. Now,
Mhm.
what is the next release is what I have in mind. I haven't produced it. Now, how do I get my current client to come back to me tomorrow? Do I have to sell a desire to him?
Mhm.
Now, generative AI is able to help me evoke the right words to create that desire.
Mm.
Now, again, when you speak, you tend to forget a conversation. Now, imagine you produce a mind-blowing image of an elevator through ChatGPT, DALL-E, or Midjourney, and say, "This is what I have in mind, and this is why you should come back to this."
Mhm.
Now, many people who never came back for second purchase or third purchase are now coming back for seventh, eighth, ninth purchases.
Wow.
So the storytelling, the thought leadership, how can I see things better? How can I add new materials to what is an elevator? After all, it's a metal box. Now, how
Mhm.
can I add a few more features to it? Small ones, but very effective.
Mhm.
Now, that is if a 70-year-old man who's no longer interested in IT, who's no longer interested in generative AI, is looking at stories, looking at ideas that will bring the customer back. And he very clearly told me that 1 year back, my salespeople were burning their tires on the streets, and we would not get customers.
Mhm.
Now, we attract clients because we speak a certain language. Somebody who's come once is coming in 4 to 5 times in a quarter
Mhm.
in an elevator business, right? So that thought leadership, that vision to the future, that ability to bring in a new thing and nurture people to convert people, a customer to a client. Now, what is a client? A client is somebody who is under your guidance, care, and protection. So
Mhm.
now these people have. What also happened is the second line of his business, the annual maintenance piece, was not very strong.
Mhm.
Now, because he's seeing all this, they are also signing up for the annual maintenance contract. That business has gone 500%.
Wow.
So that's the beauty of thought leadership. And what now thought leadership in previous days was the property of Deloitte's, McKinsey's, Accentures. Now,
Mhm.
if you know what to ask, if your antennas are open and if your ears are to the ground, you will listen to the noises that your customers make. So the noise can be the positive noise of exhilaration. Noise can be the sound of disappointment. You ignore either at your own peril, right? If they are excited, find out why they are excited and give them more experience. If they are disappointed, be 1,000 times more careful because an unhappy customer will make sure 1,000 more don't come into your office.
Mhm.
So how do you handle both? So this is what thought leadership with generative AI is making me do and make an impact to my clients.
That is awesome. Well, it sounds like it's very successful. When you
It
think
is.
about an elevator, how can you make that interesting? But I could see all kinds of stories happening inside of an elevator. You know, people talking to each other, having a conversation, just a lot of different things can happen in an
Right.
elevator. So this awesome. I love it. So it looks like it's already we're at 5:34. So I think
Right.
we're going to end. We're going to keep it short, and what we're going to start doing is having audio rooms, and we'll have conversations about what we talked about, or even more questions about AI. What do you think about that, my friend? We'll plan that for next week.
Sure. Why not? Yeah. I think audio events give opportunity for people to speak freely. Right now, they have to rely on a chat window that with a certain lag in showing up. But audio
Yes.
rooms, I think, do better.
I think so too. And StreamYard, I can't see everybody's messages all the time. So later on, after this is over, we're going to see comments that we weren't able to see, right? And
Yeah,
and so the audio rooms will have us have will have more of a chance to get to talk to everybody and answer questions. So I'm excited about that. Next week, we'll plan for that.
yes. And
And
I
it's
think you will also find a way to kind of relay what I'm talking about. The moment you see AI in action, I think it becomes a lot more easier for people to relate and connect it to their businesses.
absolutely. There's nothing like actually seeing the product
Yeah,
and
yeah,
seeing how it makes it interesting and it sparks it up. So that's going to be that's why I think um, doing this video along with the audio is going to be so important. So I'm
true.
excited about these things. Thanks so much, Chaitanya. Do you have any
Thank
last
you.
words before we leave? The
Yes. So my belief is that AI will be your most trusted partner if you know how to use it. So if there are fears that you AI will replace you, no, it's not going to replace you. Very, I very strongly believe it's not going to replace you because any transaction will happen through people,
Mhm.
and there will be a human touch somewhere in. Probably it can be an ocean of technology, but it will be that small island of humans that will make your life happen. So make a friendship with AI, learn how to travel the ocean, how to cross the ocean, and you will make more money, more meaningful connections. Just put the emotions back. Don't speak the chat GPT language, which is increasingly happening now.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Chaitanya. Thank you, everybody who came to listen today. We love you all. Hope to see you next week, and
Same here.
have a wonderful day because it's morning for you, right, Chaitanya?
Right. Yes, it's morning for us. Yes.
And it's getting ready to get dark over here, as you could see. So,
Yeah, have a lovely evening. And for those of people in the Far East, have a lovely afternoon. And for those who are in India and beyond, have a great day ahead.
yes, awesome. Take care.
Awesome.
Well, until next week. Love you all. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.